That's a nice deck you've got there. I think I'll steal it.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
This video and my channel are sponsored by Whatnot.com. Whatnot is the website you see behind me where you can buy and sell cool collectibles and hang out with streamers as they unbox things and sell things with live auctions right on stream. Whatnot.com is a really cool website, and if you sign up with the code in the description of the video, you'll get $15 off your first purchase. I'll be doing a stream on Whatnot in just a few days after this video comes out, so if you're looking to get maybe some hand-drawn tokens from me, like this masterpiece right here, you know, stop on by, follow my channel. Again, that's Whatnot.com. Hello everybody and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian and today I'm playing Nicol Bolas, God-Pharaoh, one of my absolute favorite commanders. This card is a powerhouse. For 7 mana, you can steal a spell, cast it for free, exile cards from your opponent's hands, deal 7 damage to any target, or exile each non-land permanent your opponent controls. I'm going to say, there's actually only 2 abilities on this card. There's the +2 and the -4. The +1 and the -12 in my mind don't exist. I will never use those abilities unless I am unable to use the others, which typically happens if somebody gives all of their permanents and themselves hexproof. In which case, okay, I'll use the +1. If you Shalai and I don't have 4 loyalty to destroy the Shalai, I'll +1. Because you won't let me target you. And targeting people is something I have to do a lot of in this deck because this deck is all about crime. This is my Petty Theft deck, which has as many cards as I felt I could fit into the deck that are about taking my opponent's cards. And the goal of this is to play my opponent's cards. Either make copies of my opponent's cards, or literally exile them from the battlefield, their hand or their library, and then play them, or just take it from the battlefield and move it under my control. You're going to notice that this has a lot of blue-black cards. I would say Dimir is kind of the main color pair for taking your opponent's stuff. Hostage Taker, Thief of Sanity, these are key cards in the crime archetype. But there's also some arena-only cards that do something that you can only do in arena, which is take copies of cards from your opponent's deck and make a copy of them into your deck. So that's a really fun thing that you can do using these digital-only cards. Clone Crafter, Futurist Spell Thief, Agent of Rithmine all take cards and make copies of them for you. That means that you can, you know, put them into your graveyard, you can reanimate them, you can flicker them, bounce them, whatever you want to do. This deck is running some very strong cards because oftentimes a crime spell is a 2-for-1 kind of card. It takes from your opponent and gives to you. I've updated this deck with some more, I'll say, modern removal, some really powerful removal spells like Infernal Grasp, Go for the Throat, and Children's Edict. These are all really great, as well as some new crime cards like Breach the Multiverse, which mills both players and then takes a creature or planeswalker from each graveyard, puts it under your control. And of course, we've got the classics. We've got the Thieves of Sanity. We have the Robber of the Rich. We have all of these super fun cards, which we can use to play our opponent's cards. The power level of this deck, by the way, is extremely variable, especially with the way I play it. Because my goal is to play my opponent's deck as best as I can, sometimes I'm going to not get there, but a lot of the times I will. And I will demoralize my opponent by playing their cards just as well as they can. So we're going to take Nicol Bolas into the queue and steal some cards. Chulane, Teller of Tales, a Bant commander who cares about creatures being cast, because when you do, you growth spiral. You draw a card and you can put a land from your hand into play. Very importantly, untapped. That means that Chulane has the ability to chain together tons and tons of creatures and tons of lands. I've seen a lot of versions of Chulane that are a bit tempo-ish, but run a lot of what I'm going to call mana dorks. They're creatures that tap for mana. Chulane himself does cost 5 mana, so they throw out a Llanowar Elf, throw out an Avacyn's Pilgrim, get all sorts of various little creatures that tap for mana. And they're good on their own, and they're even better if they draw you a card. Rather than go for a discard or a counterspell here, I'm going to get this Cold Steel Heart. Looks like they're considering countering it here. Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia. You can tap for 2 mana. It's even better than 1 mana. That means that Chulane could come out this next turn. Go for the double play. I'm going to start with Undercity Plunder. Have them discard, and then they have the choice of discarding a second time. If they don't choose to discard, I get a random card from their deck into my hand. I got a Marleaf Pixie. Cute. I'll cast it. Rather than hold up my counterspell, I want to do what my deck does, which is crime. This also brings me up to 5 mana. A potential 6th right here. My commander does cost 7. And you always want to be casting Snowborn Simulacra for 7 if you can, since you can use it for 3 to just make a copy of something, put it into hand. But it's way better to do it for X equals 5 and get something out for free. Yes, 5 equals 3. 3, not free. Free, not 3. I hate the English language. Terrible, terrible thing. I'm just going to start with a cycle here, since I don't really have anything I want. And I'll play my 1 land that's coming in tapped. I'm still holding up my Bind to Secrecy. But next turn, we have 7. This is the, was it the Predator land from Jumpstart? Very cute. Oh, Yasharn! Yasharn will stop me from sacrificing things. Yasharn is very mean against treasure decks. So mean. We're gonna get a forest and a plains. How much mana do you still have? 4 mana up. Chulane has the ability to bounce something back into hand. Midnight Clock. I will counter the Midnight Clock. That, to me, is a... Though it's just a mana rock, it's a mana rock that will refill their hand over time. And it's just really, really convenient to have. I have it in this deck. Time to see if they've got a counter spell. Nicol Bolas God-Pharaoh. Bring him out, and as I said before, we only use the +2 and the -4, and what did we get? Nissa! This is nice because she could block either Gwenna or Chulane. What's not so nice is they may have some bounce spells, and if they do bounce it, it goes back into their hand. That's part of why I like the clone cards in this deck that make a copy of the card, because then I actually get to keep it. It's like a forgery. That's that kind of crime. Nicol Bolas can actually absorb a hit from all 3 of these. But not from a Hydroid Krasis, too. Hydroid Krasis draws them 3 cards, gains them 3 life, and is a 6/6. Chunky. Sadly, Gwenna does not consider this a creature with a power of 5 or greater. Nicol Bolas takes the hit. And we steal. What do we got? Arcane Signet. Kind of boring, but alright. Let's float some mana. Do some crime. I will do this for X equals 5. It's the easiest way to do it. I will get a copy of their commander. I want to play their deck. Yasharn seems cool, even though I don't have the lands. I like Gwenna. I kind of could go for another land, too. Go with this one. Eventually I can cast a Hydroid Krasis. Let's roll. What do I want to put into play? Chulane! I am the Chulane deck now. We got black mana. That gives me enough for another creature. Valky. That'll show me my opponent's hand. I don't think I'll be able to cast anything else here, so I'm just going to get the Spirebluff Canal. Oh, do I have any elves or elementals in this deck? I don't think so. Phyrexian Metamorph. Fabro Elder. Solemn Simulacrum. Any artifact or creature on the battlefield. Is there anything I'm afraid of them copying? The Nissa would be the go-to, so I'm going to take this Metamorph. I don't want them to have Nissa. If they manage to get this Nissa either back into their hand or make a copy of it, then they get twice the mana off that kind of growth spiral effect because they put the land into play, they get the extra mana, and it means that they can play so many more spells, chaining them together. And they're giving up. Maybe because we just got enough creatures into play. My Nicol Bolas is a little bit too difficult to get rid of. Or maybe it's because I'm playing their deck just as well as they're playing theirs. Good game to lane. Smeagol, helpful guide. He steals from me? Stealing from a Grime deck? Well, that's illegal. I have a blue spell in hand, another blue spell in hand, and only one way to get blue mana. Oh, make that too. I just got myself a Sulphur Falls. I'm not going to play it right away, though, because it would come into play tapped. This will help it come into play untapped. Perfect! So Smeagol, whenever a creature dies during their turn, at the end of their turn, they become tempted by the ring. And whenever they become tempted by the ring, they reveal cards from the top of my library until they hit a land, put it into play tapped under their control, and put everything else into the graveyard. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Tempted by the Ring. Either from Smeagol or the Nazgul. The Nazgul are great. I'll play a ring too. See? Replicated ring. Are you tempted by this? Pretty nice. Shortcut to mushrooms. The ring tempts you. They're now at 2 temptations. So when they attack, they draw and discard. Also, Nazgul can only be blocked by things of power 3 or less, which is so tricky with a Death Toucher. At 4 mana, I could either get out Scarab God, or we could play Nicol Bolas. Play one of these tapped lands. Let's go for Nicol Bolas. See if we can get creatures into their graveyard, which we can then steal with the Scarab God. Oh, that's not a creature, but that is a really good card. There's a Liliana now in the grave. I have a couple ways to take Planeswalkers out of other players' graveyards in this deck. Fingers crossed that I can get there. One of the ways I can actually get there is with this Nicol Bolas. If I flip him over and use the -4 ability, this is why he's in the deck, I can steal a creature or Planeswalker from somebody's graveyard. Hello, how are you two doing? Just a couple ladies in the gravy. And dead. Well, darn. Here comes the Scarab God. I'm not going to bother using this Hogger Mauling as a murder. I'll just bring it out as a land. I'm going to put an upkeep on my step, or my upkeep stop on this upkeep step. I'm great at speaking. So great at speaking. Hi. If you kill the Scarab God, it goes back into my hand. If you exile it, it's gone forever. Okay, so we will, in the upkeep, snag this Nicol Bolas. This is so I get an extra scry. The discard ain't too shabby either. What are you putting into the grave? Oh, they're death sprouting my dragon. Okay. Getting themselves a land. Oh, cool swamp. This is one of Lord of the Rings art swamps. Sadly, nothing for me to steal. So I'll play Elspeth's Nightmare just so I can see and hit their hand next turn. I can't block the Nazgul. And this actually tells me something about their deck. This is a basic swamp. These are snow. They're probably running into the north, which gets a snow land, but they don't want to run as many snow lands as possible in case their opponent's playing Redan. I do the same thing in my decks that are like, Into the North is one of the best ramp spells we have in Arena. Because we don't have 3 wishes or anything like that. Or Farseek. So yeah, sure. Just run a mix. They attack. They draw. They discard. Cruelty of Gix. Nice. Cruelty of Gix is a card I've thought about for this deck, too. It's good. Just like Elspeth's Nightmare. Smeagol! Haywire Might can exile this, and because this has died, they're actually going to be tempted by the ring. That's going to make this bigger. Put a +1/+1 counter, and steal land. Everything is happening here. Nothing I really want to take from the graveyard right now. I could go for Nicol Bolas, but I think I'd rather go for Hostage Taker. If I take Smeagol, they're just going to put it back into the command zone, and they can cast it again. So instead, Nazgul. I am now tempted by the ring. I'm going to turn the Scarab God into my ring bearer. Sure. And attack in for 5. Reach the multiverse. Oh, remember those planeswalkers in the graveyard? They're fair game. I imagine they're going to get... Okay, well, I mean, Emrakul's a good choice, too. You don't get the on-cast trigger, but Liliana would be my choice there. And Nicol Bolas. Ooh! Some really powerful stuff in here. Ashiok, I think, is better if you're just going for making creatures and letting them die. Emrakul's huge and will kill me in literally 1 hit. Only one hit. I have 13 life exactly. Definitely a hard choice. Michael Plow's like, ooh, I got so many good things to get. Oh, not Michael, Michelle. Or Mikkel. Maybe all of these. Smeagol, please stop trying to take people's rings. Smeagol. I got a question in the chat about going to a Commander Masters draft. Any suggestions for drafting? Familiarize yourself with the most valuable cards in the set and do a money draft. Draft the cards that are worth the most money and then see what you can build with them. Normally, it's not the advice I would give you for a set, but because of the price of the set and the chase rares that are present in it, I think that that's the best way to do it. They're killing the Scarab God. It'll go back into my hand. Makes it harder for me to steal, though. Definitely harder to steal. I'm looking if there's anything that would help me deal with the Emrakul. Either player's graveyard that's a creature. No, we just have the Thieving Skydiver, which is fine. I can just play the Thieving Skydiver. Gotta make sure I have the right mana for it, though. Perfect. Here comes Nicol Bolas. That Nicol Bolas gets this Nicol Bolas' abilities, and we steal. Okay, that's a good card. And I will still attack with the Nazgul, because Death Touch. All I need to do is prevent 1 damage! And it's all I can prevent. So they get either +2 or +1 off of this Nicol Bolas' abilities. I think that trying to draw off the regular +1 ability, if you have lots of removal in hand, could also get there. Got Gale's Redirections. Unfortunately, that is a counter spell, which not super useful on your own turn. Especially when I'm tapped out and I'm not casting anything. Still, you know, I appreciate you risking it for the crime. I love it when people go for it. Hello, Nicol Bolas. How do you do? Oh, they're attacking my commander and not me. Great, I'm totally fine with this. No blocks. R.I.P. Nicol Bolas, God-Pharaoh.
You cannot defeat the God-Pharaoh.
Elvish Mystic. It can block. And a Nazgul. They made Emrakul into the Ring Bearer. So, that will deal more damage to me. Alright, I'm gonna go for a kind of silly play here. I want to kill all of their blockers. Yes! Had they blocked the other way around, this would have been fine. We're gonna make you sacrifice a creature. And I'll play a land. Put an upkeep stop. Nice. Did they steal my Bolas? Yes. They used a Breach the Multiverse to grab a creature or planeswalker from each graveyard. I will exile, Snow-Covered Swamp. Yeah, I mean, as I said, Smeagol does crime. Smeagol usually steals lands, but stealing other things, totally within Smeagol's purview. So I set an upkeep stop here, because I know what I want. I want Emrakul, and I want Sheoldred. Now, they're going to be 4/4s, but there's still plenty good on this battlefield. Our opponent knows it. That's going to be GG. SRAM, Senior Edificer, talking about casting auras, equipment, and vehicles. If you do, you draw a card. Well, I would love to cast some aura, equipment, or vehicles. So I'm going to try to steal their cards. Do exactly that. Rather than go for a turn 1 Agent of Rafine, I've got a lot of nice ramp here, and I'd like to get some of that out, so maybe I can activate the agent the turn after. Here comes the Agent of Rafine, and next turn I can play a land, and Mind Stone, and steal. For Themelitis, they get a Plains. Also, they taxed my commander. Nicol Bolas costs 9 mana. I'll just do this now. Huh, there's a Sentinel's Eyes on top of the library. I love Agent of Rafine. This is like the perfect crime card. The problem with this card is that it costs too little mana to play. This should not be a 1 mana 1/2. It should not cost only 2 mana to steal an entire card. Like, that's wild. I'll just keep stealing. I don't feel like blocking. The crime is my choice. Huh, Plains. Sure. Do I want to play the Sentinel's Eyes? Oh, I'll wait. There may be some cards, like if I can steal their SRAM, that want me to have the Sentinel's Eyes cast. Colossus Hammer. If they find a way to equip this for free or change its equip cost, this is an incredibly strong card. There's a whole bunch of ways that you can cheat this out. Oh, like Kemba's Outfitter. Looks like I probably should have waited to steal. Colossus Hammer now gets an equip cost of 1 instead of 8. Nice Radiant Grace. Beautiful. Transforms. So they actually didn't equip the hammer? Huh. Not what I expected to happen. But sure. Get my Robber of the Rich. I'm going to give him Special Eyes. And attack. Cool dog. I wasn't sure if they would go for a trade. They did. That flippies. It hits me. And now, my creatures enter tapped. Just fine with me. Good old Robert Richardson. Danitha! Danitha, who discounts the casting of auras and equipments, turning their 1 cost into no cost. They're probably going to just dig until they find a land and then equip. They didn't find a land. That's great for me. I'm going to steal. Give me cards. If you know what? Hey, I found your planes, SRAM. I know you were looking for it. I found it. I'm sorry. Again, this costs 9 because of that curse. Curse you. Have a kitten. It's very cute. Just look at it. Just look at it. It's adorable. The reason Displacer Kitten is in this deck is because if I steal a non-creature spell, I can then blink Nicol Bolas and steal again. Repeating until I hit a non-creature spell. Or just, I can cast my own non-creature spells to keep stealing more. More crime, more fun. Nice. All that glitters. Gonna make a dummy thick Danitha. Please don't give her that Shadow Spear. Trample upon this figure? I mean, admittedly, like Colossus Hammer plus Shadow Spear. Scary. Okay, they're getting a land in hand through, like, the funniest means by paying essentially 2 mana for it. So they can't give her Trample this turn. Here comes Danitha. I'll block with this, and to stop them from gaining the life, I'll just sacrifice it. And then I'll steal. How? All I know is steal lands, apparently. Nicol Bolas God-Pharaoh. I will blink my Midnight Clock to get more mana. And we steal. I got a Chromatic Orrery. That's fantastic. We're gonna blink Nicol Bolas. We now have loads of mana. We steal again. Arcane Signet. Bring it out. Blink the Bolas. We steal again. This time it's Bonesaw. It's ready. And we blink again. We had enough mana to play this Relic of Legend Stew for an extra blink. We could have tried to steal even more cards. That was just a crime lockout. No longer was it their deck, it was my deck. Corvold, Bay Cursed King, a sacrifice and dragon who eats your own cards to get bigger and bigger and draw you more cards, which you can then eat. Let's see, I've got a little counterspell, a little kill spell, kind of a board wipe, and a counterspell that steals. Ooh, Gale's Redirection. Corvold, Bay Cursed King was one of the Eldraine Brawl precons, making it not an original Brawl commander, but it is a commander original to Brawl. It was introduced into Standard through a Brawl deck set. It was Corvold, Alayla, Chulane, and Sir Gwyn. Sir Conrad is a great card, though. Probably better than Sir Gwyn is. Since I don't have anything I can play on just this 2 mana. Throw it in. Ah, Kalane. Kalane makes a treasure. They can sack the treasure for any spell they'd like. They also have what I'm going to call is kind of a pain land. It's kind of a pain land. Mount Doom, you can pay a life to make mana, but you can also pay mana to make your opponent lose life. Or you can wipe the board. Mount Doom's kind of cool. You do need a legendary artifact for it. It's supposed to be the ring. There's a couple other legendary artifacts. The Celestus is a legendary artifact. 4 mana active, using Roiling or Growth. No ramp allowed. Do you have another spell you could have cast? They should be very happy this wasn't a Harrow. Harrow is similar to Roiling or Growth, but you sacrifice as part of the cost, which means that you can take out people for twice the value because they already have sacrificed the land when they get it countered. Llanowar Wastes. Hello, Corvold. Yeah, wondering if it was a Veil of Summer. It would have made sense that they would be debating, hey, do I want to use Veil of Summer to stop the counterspell and draw a card? They might want to wait until a little later, though, to protect one of their spells from, like, go for the throat. Or Baleful Mastery, which I also have in hand. Llanowar Elf. When you have Kalain out, it's actually going to always ask when you're casting a creature, hey, do you want to use that treasure for it? Well, you've got 2 things. There's the 1 and 2 toughness, so I'm going to pay a life, get my 2nd red mana, and try to hit you with a Spiteful Banditry. This does not target. It just deals 2 damage to everything on the battlefield. And if your opponent's creatures die, bam, I get a treasure. This happens once each turn. This could also be a Village Rites kind of card, like asking, hey, do you want to sacrifice to do this? Do you want to pay 1 life from Mount Doom or 1 life from Llanowar Wastes? Or do you not want to sacrifice at all? Got ourselves a beautiful treasure. It is a really pretty treasure. The Lord of the Rings treasures are very nice. Corvold, Fey-Cursed King comes into play. Munches on a treasure. Munches on a land instead of a treasure? I mean, the treasure does sacrifice when it activates. They still just took out a bunch of their mana. I guess they wanted to hold this up, which makes me think they have a Veil of Summer or another protective spell, as we were theorizing before. I'm going to use Baleful Mastery with the student cost. The reason I did the student cost is if they did have Veil of Summer and they were trying to protect it, I could then follow up with Go for the Throat. Ooh, Surgical Metamorph. Do I want to make a copy of something? Kind of want to make a copy of a land, just to get to Nicol Bolas faster. Hey, let's do it. 2 Haunted Ridges. Corvold as a commander kind of always gets more and better cards, especially as they keep printing more cards that make treasures. There's always more improvements to be made to Corvold. In fact, I've seen Corvold decks that have specific sub-themes, like this Corvold deck is a tokens deck. Awesome! I even saw Corvold Dragons. It didn't work that well. Nice. Riveteer's Requisitioners. When it dies, they make a treasure, and because they blitzed it out, it has haste, and when it will be sacrificed later to this turn, I think they make the treasure and draw a card. Sweet. But because one of their creatures died, Spiteful Banditry triggers, and I get another treasure. And Nicol Bolas is feasting. Will come out into play next turn and start stealing their cards. Looks like that's not what they want to see. So we're gonna win the game. Awesome. Spiteful Banditry, I think, is a great card to have a copy of. Yes, I took out a couple board wipes, Grabneef. to see if I can rely more on just some of these higher powered clone cards. I'm down net 1 board wipe from the previous version from like 2 weeks ago. And street's like $8. Oof. You found a Cyclonic Rift? Nice. Obsidian Walrus is playing Takaja Dig Site Mentor. She's really hard to get working. I don't have any red mana, so I'm just going to hard the cards and hope that I get some. Takaja is, like, you have to set up, then get things in your graveyard. You can get things into graveyard by surveilling, and then if you have 8 mana, you can exile Takaja from your graveyard to bring back the artifacts with mana value of 10 or less. Again, very specific, a tricky one to get rolling. This could just be a Bant commander with an artifact theme. There's not like there's many of those. I'll let you get the Guardian Idol out. Oh, nice. Red mana. I will use that red mana for Ragavan. We can do some crimes. The exile to land planes from the top of their deck. Yeah, Takaja to me just feels very difficult to pull off. These are going to be very transparent about, these are the things I'm putting in my graveyard. Blue or black? Let's go with black on that. And I'll just cast Ragavan. Pass the turn. That way I have my Bind to Secrecy available. Ooh, and a target for it. We're going to counter this non-creature spell, Tezzeret Betrayer of Flesh. And Takaja does have Vigilance, so she may as well swing in. And maybe even Surveil. But they'll Surveil in response to me trying to kill her. Ooh, trying to kill her or trying to kill her? I think I'll go with trying to kill her. Off the Sheoldred. It's going to be the same text of they're sacrificing a non-token creature here. Surveil in response. It is going into the graveyard. It is Workshop Assistant. Aw. When we hit with this monkey, if we can hit with this monkey, we will also get a treasure. I think they might have like a Swords to Plowshares. Yep, Swords to Plowshares. I was thinking if it was Patriarch's Humiliation, they would have done it while Takaja was still out. Completely fair, though. Oracle the Alpha. They put the Power 9 into their library. Please no Time Walks. And search for glory. What are you tutoring for? A snow permanent, a legendary, or a saga? Notably, they do not have snow basics. They can get Black Lotus off this, because it is a... Wait. No. Is Black Lotus legendary? It's not it's historic. No, they can't. I'm being misled by my chat. Hostage Taker, we can try and steal the Oracle. It would be really fun to steal the Immortal Sun. That feels very thematic for a pirate, too. I'm going to make you sacrifice a creature. Bam. Hitting for 4. Nice Immortal Sun you have there. Now, I may have a Planeswalker as a commander, but I do not need my commander to try and win this game. We're going to use Hostage Taker to grab the Immortal Sun before they get to draw an extra card. And then I will actually cast it once I'm able to. Did I have fun? Sure, I did crime. It was mostly like the crime of murder, but it's still crime. Tom Bombadil, the guy whose song never stops, because he's singing and slinging sagas left and right. Hey, Tom Bombadil. How are you doing? if you play a creature that's not Tom Bombadil, it will be gone, sacrificed to Angrath's Rampage. Jetmir's Garden, Seachrome Coast, and Satsuki! Oh, well, I said I would make you sacrifice, so, bye, Satsuki. Satsuki is not a great card. You know, she fits the theme of sagas. She likes sagas. She helps accelerate them. It's okay. Three mana. Maybe playing a saga. Battle for Bredegard. Nice. This makes a token, then another token, then copies all tokens. And I think some people in the chat probably already know what I'm going to do to those four little tokens. It's kill them. Spiteful Banditry. I can do it for X equals 3. X equals 2 is all I need, though. I'm just going to do that this turn. X equals 1, 2. There are no sagas to kill. Or no tokens to copy. Nice. Replicating Ring. I don't think I need that. You need the Bully just a little bit. Oh, the Spiteful Banditry gets me some ramp. So now we have 5, 6, 7 mana for next turn. I can play Nicol Bolas and start doing crime. I will be the Sagas deck. Calyx, Destiny's Hand. Able to exile creatures or enchantments. Or search for enchantments. They found Ossification. Ossification can exile Nicol Bolas. And you know, I'm fine with that. They don't actually have a basic land right now, so they can't use it. I plus, we steal. Show me what you got. Thirsting Roots. I don't really want to proliferate. So I will grab a land. Great. It is a snow land. Having more snow is good because I have a blood on the snow. The Birth of Malice will get them a basic land, which they can then use to put Ossification on to lock up Nicol Bolas. Would I like to move my commander to the command zone? No, actually. I have an overabundance of lands, so I'm going to use Otawara to put that back into their hand. This can hit Artifact, Creature, Enchantment, or Planeswalker. And here we go. Just gonna poop that back into their hand. And I could kill Calyx, but I would rather steal, so I will. Ooh, a Vraska! I guess I will proliferate. Proliferate my stuff and not yours. Sometimes you do want to actually accelerate your opponent's sagas. I don't feel like I need to right now. I will ramp. Ramp I shall. Right, I should be playing the Snowlands. I forgot. That's fine. Ossification. Hitting Nicol Bolas, and this time I will put Nicol Bolas into the command zone. Nice. Binding the Old Gods. How much mana do you have right now? 1, 2, 3. Era of Enlightenment. They scry, then they gain life, and then this flips over into a 2-2 with First Strike. Guess I'll go for Nicol Bolas. Take out Calyx. And then proliferate. Also draw a card. Also lose a life. I will proliferate. Neither of these. It doesn't make a difference. They're gaining life. Good for them. Binding the old gods. Going to take out Vraska or Nicol Bolas. Looks like Vraska's the choice. Probably trying to keep me away from ulting their Planeswalker. We got Xanathar in hand. We plus, we steal. Behold the unspeakable! Ooh, that's a fun one. Yeah, that's a very, very, very small wall you've got there. I'm gonna play Xanathar. Since Xanathar will let me play cards from their deck. And I love the idea of playing their cards from their library. It's exactly what I want to do, being a Nicol Bolas crime lord. Nice 3/9 wall. Do they have enough mana to play Tom Bombadil? White, green, black, blue, red. Yeah, they could totally play Tom Bombadil here. I don't know if they want to. Iliad lets them bring back a non-aura enchantment. Or not non-aura, sorry, non-god enchantment. From the graveyard to hand. Tom might only be a 4/4, but at this moment in time, he would be hexproof and indestructible. Until the start of their next turn. Bears of Lityara, back into hand. Alright, give me the goods. Okay, Evolution Sage. This person has a lot of Proliferate. I like both of these cards. Doesn't matter what order we put them in. Have an Evolution Sage. Actually, since I can see what's on top, I'll just use that. Sure, I like stealing lands. Eldest Reborn seems good. I'll hit both of these. I actually probably want to be proliferating some of their planeswalkers. Or not their planeswalkers, their sagas. We have Eldest Reborn. You don't want to flip Eldest Reborn if you've stolen her. The reason for that is because if you do that, it goes back under their control. But I guess that's enough. Our opponent gives up. They leave. Leaving us victorious. Again, it's Smeagol, helpful guide, who steals my lands when they're tempted by the ring. And how do they become tempted by the ring? By having a creature die under their control during their turn. It's pretty nice. Kami Bamboo Groves gets them an extra land. Sweet. A swamp. I will scry. It's more land. I feel like getting another land is okay here, but I already have 4 and a mana rock. I don't think I need that. I have the mana I need to cast Nicol Bolas. Not this Nicol Bolas. This Nicol Bolas. The Ravager. Hey, Smeagol. Smeagol's out here to guide them to my lands. Also deal a lot of damage. 4 power is pretty tough. Black Market Connection. Nice. Let them pay life for treasure, card draw, and changelings. Kami Bamboo Groves. Out here dealing serious damage. They might have a way to sacrifice one of their creatures to start stealing my lands. Yeah, Smeagol's cool because you get to build both around Tempted by the Ring mechanics, like the Nazgul, but also around just general Golgari Sacrifice, which is already a decently fleshed out archetype. Nice forest. Finding the old gods, destroying my Relic of Legends. That's going to cut me off from some of that extra ramp. My sweet rampoids. No! I have this suspicion that I am going to be blocking soon. And then wiping the board as fast as I can. Sanguine Brushstroke, no Blood Artists. You pay the 6. Real heroes do wash the 6. They paid, looks like 3. Now they're breaching the multiverse. They're going to get a creature or planeswalker from each player's graveyard after milling 10. So that's an Ashiok. That's a pretty good target. And in theirs, I see a Nazgul. That would probably be their choice. Yep, it's a Nazgul. Nazgul and Ashiok. Sitting in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. Also, kind of spoilers, there was a panel at MagicCon Barcelona where they revealed that Ashiok will be the sole planeswalker in Wilds of Eldraine. Cool. Yes, there's only going to be one planeswalker. Very, very happy about it. Nice. Golem, they sacrifice a creature. That's going to get them another Temptation by the Ring. And I don't have enough mana for Blood on the Snow. So do I have an out? I can block. And that's about it. Nicol Bolas means I'll only be able to block one thing. That Shapeshifter will be taking 7. That's going to be a good game. GG Smeagol, helpful guide. I think the philosophy of one planeswalker per set is great, because I personally don't really like playing against planeswalkers. I say with a planeswalker commander. It's one of those things where I feel like it detracts a lot from the importance of combat and lends itself too much into decks that are reliant on board wipes and planeswalkers. I played through a lot of formats where planeswalkers were dominant because they tend to be these super powerful, super high value generating cards that are difficult to get rid of. And while you can keep scaling up removal to try to match their power level, I don't like that as an answer. I don't think more powerful removal should be the answer. I think it should just be less powerful planeswalkers, which they have been doing. Oh, I don't know why it was holding. Oh, it was in case I wanted to tap the land. No, I don't. They could have also just attacked me at the start of their turn instead of doing all that while I was talking about planeswalkers. Good game. Zimone and Dina. Sultai commanders who sacrifice creatures, draw cards, put lands into play, and then drain you upon a second card draw. I'll keep this. I don't know how many artifacts they'll have, but if they have an early artifact, I'll try to steal it. Because that's what I do. I steal your cards. Your permanents. Your spells, your creatures of all types. They did a double mulligan, which meant that they went to 6 cards. Starting at a disadvantage, at least by number of cards in hand, but they do go first, so it's possible that they were trying to mulligan to get, like, a turn 1 piece of ramp. Or just a really good piece of fixing. I'll play this Forsaken Crossroads, naming black, and then using it to scry. What do we have on top? Spiteful Banditry. It's a good card, but I don't think it's what I want. Had they started with a turn 1 Llanowar Elf, I think I'd be more likely to consider it. Arboreal Grazer. And now they ramp. We're being duressed. They could hit Ashiok, Gale's Redirection, or Cyclonic Rift. They know what's in hand. I'm actually going to play the card I just drew, Ice Tunnel, since it comes into play tapped. And here comes Zimone and Dina. They dropped my Cyclonic Rift, so I won't be able to do any mass bouncing here. And that's fine. Looks like no artifacts, so I'll just play Thieving Skydiver. It's just gonna vibe. This can block it, and that's fine. This can block it as long as it's on the battlefield. I might try to... Hey! I was gonna try to steal that. Or steal you. Zimone and Dina being their commander means that if I try to exile it, using Ashiok or Hostage Taker or anything else, They can just choose to put it back into their command zone. Oh, now you play your Arcane Signet. Thieving Skydiver is a rogue, so if I happen to get my rogue with Rogue Jitsu in hand, we can get this back into play. Back in hand. Taking that Signet. Snow-covered island. Oh, nice! Jake won the Pro Tour. Good for Jake. Jake Beardsley, I think was his name. He looked like a nice young man. I'm recording this while the finals are happening. Sulfur Falls. Bring me to 4 mana. Grab a hostage taker. Steal that Arcane Signet. I've got 2 mana. Would you like to do anything with it? No. We attack for 2. Get him. Henny's expertise, though. They're going to kill my hostage taker and get the Arcane Signet back. Also cast the Springbloom Druid for free. Do you think they'll sacrifice this? I think they will. Get that second card draw per turn. Zimone and Dina sacrifice the Springbloom Dryad. Druid? Druid. Not a Dryad, just a Druid. And I see you have cards in hand. I could hold it open my counter so I could play Ashiok, but I want to make you discard. And which card do you discard? Why? It's going to be this card or this card. You have 2 of them. They could choose both. I don't think they will. We got a Fibblethup. Great. I'm going to make them discard again, and I'm going to destroy this Signet. Risco! Happy to make them lose that part of their hand. They have 6 mana. Zimone and Dina sitting on the battlefield all alone. And they ramp, getting another land into play. It's a snow land, probably a snow dual land. A sweet ice tunnel. And I think we're just going to sit on Gale's Redirection. It would be great if I could have 1 more land so I could play Fibblethip as a chump blocker, draw a card, and still hold up the counterspell. But I just want to make sure, in case they have something like Emergent Ultimatum, that I can cut them off from it. Oh, that's just a land. It's going to get them 2 landfalls and gain a life, though. Temple of Epiphany. Yes, it's a land, but it comes into play tapped. So with that Darkslick Shores, throw it to the bottom and pass the turn. I can take a few more hits from Zimone and Dina. Oh, they're deliberating. What kind of spell do you have in hand? They know about the Gale's Redirection. Balaged Recovery to get the dig up. I will counter this Balaged Recovery. Give that to me for free, which gives me access to Hostage Taker, Cyclonic Rift, or anything else in my graveyard. Thank you, Balaged Recovery. We can also just steal. And steal I shall! Nicol Bolas, take the top spell of their library, please. Urtai! Urtai comes into play, and I'll destroy Zimone and Dina. And I'm in no rush to reuse this, since it sticks around as long as I need it. Give myself access to all of these lovely cards. Look, you got to draw a card. See, I'm helping you. It's a Fading Hope, which puts the Urtai back into their hand. Nice. That way they could use it to kill Nicol Bolas. Or counter a counterspell. Still on my turn. Killing Nikki B.
A tactical retreat is in order.
Oh, hey, look! Other Nicol Bolas. Nice. You may have killed my adult form, but I simply revert into a little egg baby. Like one of those jellyfish turning back into a polyp. So cute. Baby Bolas. Before he learned how to wear clothing, he's just a little naked baby. Just a little naked baby. And somewhere in between this and that, he also sat in an armchair and, I don't know, did business or something. He seems like the kind of guy who would do a business. They had a Seagate Restoration, not that good on an empty hand. Bubble Thup. Come out and play. Nice clock. Finding the old gods, taking out Nicol Bolas the Ravager before I can flip him over and use him to steal creatures from graveyards. They've got a 3-2 and a 3-4, and even though Zamonadina has this great ability, I feel like it might just be a matter of I attack with both. Nope, they want to get the drain and the double draw. Since they have more than 8 lands, they get twice the card draw off of sacrificing Urtai. But do you want to do it now? Because if you put a land in hand, I might just make you discard it. They sacrifice the Urtai. Draw a card. And then do it again. Forsaken Crossroads. I gotta be mindful of my, my life total, though. Because they can drain me. And I don't have a lot of life gain in this deck. Believe it or not, the Grixis deck, not that big on gaining life. I kind of want to go for just Midnight Clock Ashiok. I'm going to grab the Scales Redirection. And we're going to go for Midnight Clock Zareth San. So now they know I have a counterspell. But they don't know about the Zareth San. If they go for an attack, then I can just flash this out to block. And then I can steal a permanent from their graveyard, like this one, or that one. Lots of choices. Hey, Zamonadina, you coming in? They swing. I'm not going to hold up the mana for the counterspell. Instead, it's time for Zareth San to sit in their way. They can replay Zamonadina. I believe they have enough mana. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this costs 7 at the moment. That's right. I was holding up one trick which they knew about to disguise the trick they didn't know about. It's a secret to everyone. And that secret is value. Even if they play that, they're not going to want to block, and we'll steal from their graveyard. Then we can get out Nicol Bolas and keep our crime spree rolling. Good game, Zamone and Dina. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brawl Stars. As always, if you'd like to watch me record this live, come on over to twitch.tv/Amazonian. It's where I stream Magic pretty much every single day, except for Tuesdays, but also still sometimes on Tuesdays. If you have a suggestion for a commander you'd like to see, let me know in the comments below. And if there's a card that you're excited about once we start seeing more Eldraine previews, let me know, because I'm hoping to get brewing with some of those cards too. They showed us a few of them at PT Barcelona, but there's going to be even more reveals across the next month. And then the set comes out and we get to brew even more Brawl. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had a crime-filled afternoon.